Welcome. This lecture we're going to talk about your kidneys. Animals are continuously losing water, ions, and solutes throughout the day, and they need to keep replacing these substances all day long. Humans lose about 7% of their water every day, and some small mammals that can be up to 35% of all of their water each day. Remember, animals' bodies work hard constantly to maintain homeostasis. Therefore, there are specific organs responsible solely for adjusting to this loss. In terrestrial animals, it's the kidneys. Aquatic animals also can use their gills to balance internal osmotic pressure with the water's osmotic pressure. Urine is produced to maintain balance in water, ion, and solute concentrations while excreting metabolic waste. Some animals have adapted different abilities to concentrate their urine to contain a higher osmotic pressure than the osmotic pressure in the blood. They are producing urine that is hyperosmotic compared to their blood plasma. Other animals, like reptiles that you can see here, and some marine animals cannot do this, and they're going to excrete urine that's isosmotic with their blood plasma. Some desert species, like a kangaroo rat, are very well adapted and can concentrate their urine up to 14 times higher in osmotic pressure than their blood plasma. Kidneys are the organ that accomplishes this task. The role of the kidney is to produce and eliminate liquids derived from blood plasma or extracellular fluid. Some kidneys also regulate the composition and the volume of blood plasma and extracellular fluid by controlled excretion of solutes in water. The kidneys are producing urine from solutes and water drawn from blood plasma, and the net result is balance in blood concentrations. Urine contains urea, which is nitrogenous waste. It also contains sodium, chloride, potassium, phosphate, sulfate, creatine, and more. The kidneys will also excrete hydrogen ions to maintain pH balance, and it will also expel water to maintain osmotic balance. The general human urinary system begins with the kidneys that you can see up here. And again, the kidneys are going to produce urine. They are also going to concentrate the urine in some animals. And then that urine will be collected in a renal pelvis. You can see that in this inner area here. And then once it's ready for excretion, it's going to move down the ureter into a bladder that you can see down here, where it's going to be stored until it is excreted from the body. These structures here are called nephrons. And this is where the fluid and the ions are drawn from the blood plasma, and the fluid is concentrated in these nephrons. And we're going to talk about all of this in just a bit. Let's first talk about the different types of kidneys in different types of animals. The kidney structure is going to vary between animals. Some animals have a simple kidney with a cortex and a medulla. The cortex is this outer portion here, and the medulla is this inner portion here. And a simple kidney, that's all going to be in one lobe. The horse has several medullary sections, But because they are all surrounded with one cortex and there's no demarcation on the outside of the kidney, it's still considered a simple kidney. Other animals, like this cow you see here, elephants, bears, rhinos, bison, cattle, pigs, and some others have what is known as a lobate or a lobulated kidney. And you can see that here it's extremely demarked on the outside, and each of these lobes is going to have its own cortex and medulla for increased filtration. Marine mammals have extremely lobulated kidneys. These are called reniculated kidneys and look like a big sack of grapes. Each of these little reniculi is going to act as its own kidney, and it's going to have its own cortex and medulla. You can see what that would look like inside here. So each of these little reniculi have their own cortex and medulla. And then a group of them will drain to their own renal pelvis, and then they will all drain to the main renal pelvis. This is necessary for osmoregulating marine mammals that live in the ocean in a very salty environment. There are tubules inside the kidney that modifies the liquid as it moves through them. This is called the primary urine, and it will be continually altered until it is eventually released into the ureter, where it becomes definitive urine. These tubules are called nephrons and will vary in number and length between different species. Primary urine is also called ultrafiltration. All vertebrates and most invertebrates produce this from blood pressure produced by the heart, forcing water and some small solutes through tiny pores in these tubules. Again, these tubules are called nephrons, and they're a single layer of epithelial cells thick, just like capillaries, and they're going to end in a Bowman's capsule. You can see that here. Here's the nephron, this bluish color, ending in this Bowman's capsule, and this is where ultrafiltration occurs. The Bowman's capsule is filled with capillaries and is called the glomerulus. This area is supplied with blood through all of the capillaries and maintains a high blood pressure from the renal artery, which is coming directly from the aorta. Remember, capillaries are only a single layer of cells thick, like the nephron is. So blood in the capillaries, which are here, and the fluid in the nephrons, which is this capsular fluid here, is only separated by 2 layers of cells. However, there is a membrane between them called the basement membrane. And this basement membrane, you can see that right in this area here, is going to act as a filter. So again, fluid is forced through the basement membrane filter from the blood plasma into the capsular fluid in the Bowman's capsule. And this is going to produce primary urine, or ultrafiltrate. Small molecules like glucose, urea, and amino acids can pass through this basement membrane with the fluid. However, other larger proteins cannot fit through this membrane. At this point, the primary urine, the ultrafiltrate, is very similar to the blood plasma. But because not all proteins can pass through that membrane, the blood plasma becomes hyperosmotic to the primary urine. This could potentially draw water back into the plasma if the water pressure in the capsular fluid wasn't high enough. But in mammals, at least, the water pressure in the capsular fluid, the ultrafiltrate, is higher than the osmotic pressure in the blood pressure, and this prevents the water from going back into the blood plasma. The rate at which primary urine is produced is called the glomerular filtration rate, the GFR. And in adult humans, this is about 120 milliliters per minute. This is equivalent to all of the plasma water in the body being filtered every 30 minutes. Again, you can see the importance of the kidneys in maintaining pH balance, osmotic balance, and water balance. However, not all primary urine is excreted. Obviously, most of this water is going to be reabsorbed. There are two ways to control the GFR. You can vary the rate of filtration in the nephrons, or you can increase or decrease the number of nephrons functioning at any given time. The rate of filtration depends on the glomerulus blood pressure, and you can see that right here. So if you have a high blood pressure, you're going to have water forced into that capsular fluid more readily. If you have a lower blood pressure, you are going to have less fluid forced into the ultrafiltration. This pressure can be regulated by vasoconstriction or vasodilation. This would be under the control of the autonomic nervous system and also the endocrine system or hormonal control. Remember, the autonomic nervous system functions all on its own. It doesn't need a stimulus for it to react. It doesn't need an external stimulus for it to react. The latter form of control is the norm for most non-mammal vertebrates. So most non-mammal vertebrates are going to control the number of nephrons functioning at any given time. Insects and some marine fish actively transport solutes into the nephrons, increasing the osmotic pressure in the tubule. And this active transport, again, requires ATP. Once they move solutes into the nephrons, you can see that here on number 2. Water will then move into the tubule through osmosis, which you can see here on number 3. And this is going to increase the volume of fluid in the nephron that you can see here. As water moves into the tubule and increases the volume, then that primary urine is now more dilute compared to the blood plasma. Due to osmotic pressure, solutes will diffuse into the nephron along the concentration gradient. Primary urine generally gets altered in volume and composition before it is eliminated. Most of the water will be reabsorbed into the blood plasma. Solutes can be reabsorbed or added in to the primary urine as needed to maintain balance. This is how kidneys regulate the blood plasma. This is the main role of the kidney. Urine is how they accomplish this and is the byproduct of this regulation. You can see that here, number 1 is this initial ultrafiltration. 2 right here is going to be reabsorption of water and possibly secretion of solutes back into the primary urine. It's going to be continually altered until it's finally excreted.